Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. To another edition of another Dooley Noted podcast brought to you by the great folks at Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Man, I was a little late getting in here today because there was a wreck somewhere on 39th. I don't know where. I finally turned around and hauled butt in here. Coach Spurrier is scheduled to join us today. And on Friday, Blake Topmeyer, who's a good friend and does a great job, a columnist at USA Today, had a really good piece on what the schedule is going to look like, and we're going to find out a lot more about that. So I look forward to that. Inside 3 weeks to the Bob Dooley Invitational, I am a nervous wreck. I can't sleep. I lay there and I worry about the putting contest and just all kinds of details. It's the same old thing. I do the same thing every year. I say, I'm going to scale it back. I'm going to not have as much stuff. Next thing you know, there's a hole where I think if you get in the dunk tank, or something. There's all kinds of stuff going on. But anyway, it's inside 3 weeks. And we appreciate everybody who is a sponsor or is involved in it. All right, let's get to, today will be the Big Mills starting lineup. Big Mills Cheesesteak. As we say, we're going through all of our sponsors and putting them in the starting lineup until I sell it. And at some point after this tournament is probably when it's going to happen. I'll probably just try to sell it for the football season because that's when everything happens around here. But we've got great shows for you. I will put my lineup this month in April against anybody. With the people we've had, with Izzy Gutierrez and of course Spurrier, with Trinity Thomas, with Seth Emerson was great. Who'd you say? Max Starks. So we've had an unbelievable lineup. So we're not backing off just because it's not football season. All right, the number one on the Big Mills starting lineup. It was a lost weekend for Gator baseball, and I almost said softball because so far it has been for them too. We'll get to that. But baseball, to go up there, Brandon Neely's suspension was a big thing. And maybe it did cast a pall on this team. Or maybe the relievers struggled because they knew they didn't have Neely. I don't know. I don't know the psychology of this team well enough. Maybe it was a factor. I don't know. But I don't think it was. The bottom line was they couldn't score runs. And for the best lineup in baseball to only get 10 runs in 3 games, you're going to probably lose the series for sure, and maybe all 3 games. They didn't pitch well, they didn't hit well. Other than that, they were fine. The big three, and again, you can't count on them for everything, right? Caglione, Wyatt Langford, and Josh Rivera went 7 for 32. Is that bad? No, it's not bad. It's actually not bad at all. I mean, it's not terrible. Caglione hit a homer, but they didn't get all those big hits that we've seen them get all year. And just a miserable weekend. I got to be honest, I didn't even want to watch. Because if you go on SEC Plus or ESPN Plus or what is the other one? SEC Plus or ESPN Plus. And you can't get off of it. When you get off of it, it's going to cost you 5 minutes. So it's not like you just flip around and flip back to it, which I did with softball last night. So those games I just kind of kept track of on my phone. I mean, that was pretty much it. All right, that is what happened in baseball. And again, they have big series. They need to have a good week. They need to have I never talk about sweeps, but a sweep would be really nice against Missouri this weekend. But let's see what happens. Number 2, softball has had a lost weekend so far. And look, this happens in sports. The 2017 National Championship baseball team got swept in its first series of the year that year. It happens. You go on the road, things don't work out for you, you don't play well, you don't pitch well, whatever happens, but things happen. And same with softball. Last year I gave up on this team. I said, hey, this team's not special, I can tell, they're not going anywhere. And they ended up in Oklahoma City, which is where only 7 other teams could end up. So, this team can really rake, Man, they can't pitch a lot at all. I looked this up because I was curious. I don't know if you watched the game last night, but they're up 9-3 and lose. And just couldn't get out of the sixth inning. Just couldn't find anybody to shut the door. But in this is the ERA for Florida's softball team in the SEC games only, 5.39. You're not winning anything with that kind of an ERA. Can anybody pitch? I don't know. I don't think anybody can pitch on that team at an elite level. And you got to have at least one, probably two elite pitchers to win it all, which is the goal. That's still the goal for Florida. There's still their goals to get there, and then when you get there, your goal is to win it. But maybe help is on the way. We know this great recruiting class they got coming in, but it certainly was part of a lost weekend for Florida. Now, the Gators do have another game. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe they win tonight, and you're listening to this on Tuesday, you go, they showed Dooley. Good. I hope they do. Number 3, and it should be number 1, and I actually wrote it down. You need to lead with this, but I had already written it down at number 3, so it's the third thing. I was so into the golf, not professional golf, but Florida golf. On Sunday, I didn't even know it was going to be on TV. I was looking up things for a couple of things I was trying to do. And so I'm looking up things and I see in the story, it says it's 8 o'clock this morning. It's on SEC network. And I'm like, holy cow, turn it on, start watching. Then I got engrossed with it, couldn't quit watching. Florida had a lead, and you're worried they were going to lose it, and then one guy lost the lead. It was intriguing if you like golf and if you like the Gators. 2 things I happened to do. And it was just a great win. John Dubois with the putt that won it. And by then, I had already gravitated to Ironwood Golf Course because I got too nervous. I got to get out of the house. I got to go play golf. I got to do something I can control. So I did, but when I got there, I went, it's still on. Okay, I'm going to watch it. And I saw him make the putt and let out a yelp. And of course, I'm the only person watching it. And then the other guy missed his putt, and I threw my hands in the air. And a lot of it is, it's not just that it's the Gators, and it's not just that it's golf. It is J.C. Deacon, who has been a huge supporter of the Bob Dooley Invitational, like Buddy Alexander was before him. Both those guys, just good human beings. I love them to death. And then Dudley Hart, who's I've known forever, and sent both of them text messages immediately afterwards. I'm sure they will get around to answering them. They've probably got a billion of them. So proud of them. So proud of them for winning a championship. And you'll see a little bit more of that, maybe a little bit later. We'll talk about it maybe a little bit later. Let's go to number 4 on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Starting lineup. I flipped it on because first of all, I'm like, Colorado spring game is on ESPN. Oh, man, the Deion factor is strong with this one, isn't it? They're locked in. Everybody's going to be locked into Deion, and that's why you make that hire. It doesn't mean he's going to be successful, but they filled the stadium. Now, the stadium only seats 45 grand, but they filled the stadium, and it was snowing. Not hard, but there were snowflakes coming down. It was cold, and they of course, they're used to that. But they had a great spring day and did a lot of cool things, and everybody's excited about it. The weird thing is, in the days that followed, 2 days later, the guy who led them in receiving, I think he caught a 98-yard touchdown pass in this game. His name is Lamonius. This is his last name, Lamonius Craig. He got in the transfer portal. You Ian Skinner this, I guess. Then the next day, they're a 4-star commit backs out of his pledge, says, no, I'm no longer committed to them. that's a weird way to keep the momentum going. But again, you never know what's going on, man. It could be this guy did something stupid. It could be this guy isn't any good, but they threw him a 98-yard pass and they told all the defenders to fall down. It could be that the guy who decommitted was told, we're not going to give you, we think we can do better. You don't overreact to any spring game, and you don't overreact to what's going to happen. We're now back where we're about to have another portal rush. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And it's not going to be a big one, but it's going to be 4 guys here, 5 guys here, 3 guys, for this team. We'll see what happens in that. Meanwhile, Alabama had their spring game, and their guy that they think is going to be the next quarterback threw 3 picks. So that's not good. But it's spring game, man. Don't worry about it. Finally, number 5 on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks starting lineup. College football made a decision that we talked about, I think, about a month ago, maybe longer ago, about how they were going to toy with the idea of not stopping the clock on first downs. Now, my first reaction was, I like the way I like it that it's different from the NFL. But, as we all know, it's not our decision about anything. So what they did this weekend, they did make that decision final. The bad news for a lot of you who like college football being different is that Steve Shaw, who is now, he was the head of officials for the SEC, but now he is the head of rules. I mean, that's what he is. It doesn't matter what they say his title is. It's like secretary writer of or whatever, but he is the head of rules. So he said this is a conservative first step. And I'm like, whoa, you want to be the NFL. Everybody college football wants to be the NFL. And you know why they do? Because television wants them to be the NFL. They want them to be in concise windows. And if that leaks over a little bit, that's fine. But we don't want 4-hour games. And television runs the world. This is all a television show. All college football is a television show. And that's just the way it is. Television is also the one footing the bill for a lot of these stadiums and a lot of other sports programs and all kinds of. Television is paying so much money to make everything possible. The money that, the NCAA does run, they don't run football, but they run basketball and they run the tournament. And that negotiation's huge, and they get as much as they possibly can. That's why it's on 4 networks. Why you have to find out what True TV is every year, one time for 2 weeks, and then you're done with it. But the bottom line is, this is a business, man. It is a business. It is. We all love our teams. You love your teams. I love my teams. But the bottom line is, it's a business. And if TV wants something, TV is putting the bill. Everybody says football pays the bills. TV pays the bills. Football helps with the bills. They throw in a little bit of, money. I'll pay for gas. Okay, that's basically what happens there. So anyway, it's just the way it's going to be. Games are going to be shorter. They're going to hide behind the. No, it's for safety. These guys were going to add games to their season with a 12-team playoff. So we want it to be safer. It's not because we want it to be shorter. We want it to be safer. So there's fewer plays you'll be in for a game. I want to see more plays. But that's me. All right. We'll take a break and come back. You are listening to or watching another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave me the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it. Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more, including yours truly. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Trial membership until April 11th only, featuring Billy Napier and Tommy Townsend. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org. That's membership@quarterbackclub.org, or call me, and I'll let you get to the right people.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Coach Spurrier is usually on Monday, and he didn't show up, and I'm like, where is he? And then we started exploring my phone, and it turns out, I didn't realize this, but it's not enough to delete messages on your phone, voice messages. You have to put them in the trash eventually, and I didn't, I guess, and Coach left me a message yesterday and said, I'm not going to be at the show on the show Monday. So there's a lesson for all of you who like me. It's like my wife said. The only reason I should have a phone is in case I have an emergency. I should never use it in any other way because I'm just an idiot. So we'll go a little longer with Robbie, which is even better. And we bring him on right now. He's brought to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. Robbie, how are you?
Pat, just another sign that you've gotten old. You can't operate your phone.
I could give you a long list of signs, believe me.
Believe me, I've got them too.
By the way, since Coach isn't here, we're going to go ahead and do the Campus USA Play of the Week. And what it is going to be is the putt that John Dubois made to win the SEC championship, basically, for Florida at Sea Island, Georgia. And I didn't know I didn't know it was on. All of a sudden, I go, "Oh, it's on. Let me watch it." It was. I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of it, Robbie. It was great theater.
Yeah, I saw the putt, Pat, and the other guy looked like he was going to make his from there, and then he made his, and then he missed the short one. So shows you what happens when you put a little pressure on there.
It's kind of fun to hear Steve Melnick on the play-by-play too. I haven't heard him in a long time.
Yeah, I used to like when he was on CBS, right, Pat?
He would correct me whenever I was wrong about anything. I remember one time I complained about the quality of the British Open coverage, the video of it, and he sent me a long email explaining how they have to use the BBC feed, and that's why it's so bad and everything. So he was right.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah. Back in the days when we would write things and people would care what we wrote.
I know.
That was a long time ago. All right. Let's go ahead and get to Yes, No, Way, or Maybe with Robbie Andreu. And as always, it's brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Big Mills Cheesesteaks, street dining done the right way. Sponsors of the Bob Dooley Invitational, where Robbie will be posted on a hole. The 14th hole, I believe it is. Yeah.
It was last year, right, Pat? Me and Jill.
You and Jill serving up sangria. We've got some goodies to give away as well on that hole too. So hopefully we get a good weather day. It's just amazing this drought we're dealing with right now. I'm sure your yard looks like mine, and I've got a sprinkler system.
It's drying up out there. It's unbelievable. But I hear there's a chance we might get some today, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, it says every day this week there's a chance of rain, but
not a chance.
It was 70% chance on the spring game day, and we were like, we think they may cancel it.
Yeah, not a drop.
And maybe they should have. The way everybody kind of responded to it, like it's just festered the open wound that is Florida football in a lot of ways. The negative fans are even more negative now. We even got a call from a couple of them on the radio the other day we heard from Lizard Man. We haven't heard from him in forever.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what's even more negative than the fans, Pat? The media. It's amazing how everybody out there is just discounting Florida completely, saying that there's nothing going on there. They're going to have a terrible year, and Napier's on the hot seat. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell people, I go, look, you and I can have a serious argument about whether what he's doing is going to work or whether it's working or what he's doing. We can argue back and forth and discuss it and but don't for a second think he's got a chance of getting fired after this year. I don't care how bad they are.
Yeah, he's only been here a little over a year, Pat. Come on.
I think it was Chris Doring said this. It might have been Staples today on the SEC show. He said, basically, Billy Napier was year zero last year. And I said, well, I hate that term year zero, but it does apply in this case.
It's true, Pat. This is like his first year now with all the portal and all the turnover in the roster and everything. It's unbelievable. This is like year one now. Like Staples said, year zero was last year. So,
all right, Coach Spurrier is calling in right now.
He is.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just calling to tell me he's not going to be here. But again, he told me yesterday it's not his fault.
It's on you.
Not anyway. But finally, my voicemail now, I've got it figured out.
Technologically challenged. That's all I can say.
I have the HBC. I guess I should put HBC, but I have it listed as SOS because that's what. Remember when he was in college and they would go, Florida sent out an SOS, Stephen Orr Spurrier.
Yeah, in '66 when he pulled all those games out. Remember?
SOS. Yeah. That was back when the writing was stellar. Joe Halberstein hacking it out.
Right. Yeah.
Typewriter. All right, let's get to yes, no, way, or maybe. Let's start with number one, Robbie, and that is that Anthony Richardson Thursday night will be a top 10 pick in the draft. Now, before you go there, Peter King came out with his latest mock. And, of course, nothing's happened in the last 2 weeks, but everything's changed. Guys are going up. Guys are going down. But he came out with it. He had him at 23. Stock is dropping. Why? Because it needs to, so we can bring it back up.
Yeah, Pat, a week ago I said, yes, he's going to be a top 10 because all indications were he could be like the fourth or fifth guy taken. But now, like you said, things are changing. So I'm switching that to maybe a top 10, but not a certainty like it seemed like a week ago. But you're right. I mean, I think people realize that he's a gifted athlete, but he's a major project at the next level. So, if you take him with a top 5 pick, you're taking a big risk, I think.
Yeah, I think there are going to be guys who GMs leading up to draft day are going to go, man, what if I don't take him and he ends up beating us in our division every year because it turns out he is another Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton and that kind of quarterbacks that can run over you, run by you, and have great arms, but they need work with their accuracy. What if he turns out to be good? He hasn't. I think a lot of people have made a great point about Anthony Richardson is how young he is as a football player.
Yeah, he hadn't played much, Pat, and this is the quandary he's put GMs in. Like you just said, do you risk not taking him? Do you risk taking him? It's like he's got that kind of talent, and we've seen glimpses of what he can do and how incredible he could be, but there's just a little nagging doubt about he's not a guaranteed, not going to make it guaranteed that he's going to be anything special, but he's got all the tools to be special. So it created a quandary for GMs all across the league.
Yeah, it is, because that's the other thing is he hadn't played, not only has he not played in a lot of games, not started a lot of games, he hadn't played in a lot of big games. And a lot of times with a quarterback who's played, like with Bryce Young, with C.J. Stroud, they played enough big. I think that's one of the reasons guys are kind of don't know what to think of Will Levis, because he had a mediocre year behind a bad offensive line and really didn't play in that many big games his career. I mean, I don't know what I'd do with him either.
No, but it seems to me like his stock is starting to go up again, Pat, from what I'm hearing. But it's all this happens before every draft, though. The speculation and the factor in possible trades. So you just don't know, especially with these two guys.
I think Hendon Hooker is going to be a steal in this draft. Just my thoughts.
Well, you could take it. Somebody could take him in the 3rd or 4th round probably, and he might have a chance to make it. So that would be a steal.
Well, now his stock's up. Now they're saying he may go late in the 1st round. Then it'll go down. Then it'll go up again. Then it'll sideways.
Right now, Pat.
Where's who?
Our stock down.
Oh, ours is plummeted.
Way down. You can't even operate your phone.
It's a red line that just keeps getting more jagged going down.
Yeah.
It's not good. All right, on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Number 2. It's a good one for you, Robbie. Florida's starting quarterback is not on campus right now.
No. Florida's starting.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying it's at least. And the reason I thought about it is somebody said Alabama's quarterbacks didn't play very good in the spring game, and that Alabama, there's a lot of rumors they're going to go heavy in the portal and get their starter there.
There's no way.
I don't think so either. I don't think you go to a whole spring and then teach a guy in the summer.
For one thing, Pat, if you look at the portal, who in the world would you? There's nobody capable in the portal right now of stepping in and being the starting quarterback at Florida. There's not much there right now, and they invested everything in the guy from Wisconsin. He's going to be the guy, and he's going to start the season. But I think they will get another quarterback, but it may be that guy that is going to reclassify, the Simmons kid from down south in South Florida. I think he may end up being the other quarterback, but he won't be coming through the portal. He'll be a freshman.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think Fred Mertz is going to be the starting quarterback.
Fred Mertz. William Frawley.
Yeah.
I drive my wife crazy that I know the names of people that are just character actors.
Yeah.
She loses her mind. All right. Finally, on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, featuring the great Robbie Andreu, subbing in for Coach Spurrier today. Number 3. The Xavier Henderson getting in the portal is just baffling.
Maybe, Pat, a little bit. But, if you look at this kid, he was a 5-star guy coming out of high school. And he's really never done anything here in his 4 years here. He's never done anything. And even though
they gave him a lot of chances, Robbie, they kept throwing him that bubble screen.
It never worked, though. It hardly ever worked.
Yeah.
But his best thing was catching punts, basically returning punts. And I think he was a solid receiver, but I think they've got guys that are behind him, we're a little behind him here, that have a bigger upside than what he had shown here. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to, it's not baffling to me. It didn't shock me when it happened, because going into the spring, I kind of looked at him as one of those guys maybe that might be a candidate for the portal, because he hasn't lived up to expectations here. And maybe he wants, a fresh start. And I'm hearing Miami for him, maybe.
Oh, boy.
Get him back closer to home.
Yeah. He did have a couple of plays. I mean, the Georgia one, and
yeah, he did.
But I think he sees a hand running on the wall. The weird thing was they talked him up. Billy Gonzalez talked him up. But at some point, you go to a guy and you go, "We don't see your role being what you see it as being," and as a result, we're now controlling NIL, and we're not going to give you a lot of money. And it may be something as simple as that.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, Pat, now with the portal, nothing is baffling anymore. It's unbelievable. So much crap going on, you just don't know. So nothing stops me or baffles me anymore with the portal.
That's a good point. Antoine Powell Ryland, or Antoine Randall L., one or the other, is now in the portal. And I liked him as a player, but he was okay. But now Florida has 5 scholarships open, so it'll be really interesting. I tell you one thing: it may make them. I know that the situation with their kicker Mihalik, he was on scholarship. They got him on scholarship, but he was going to come off. Maybe he'll stay on it, and that'll keep him around, because I think we saw from Trey Smack nothing that makes us think he's the guy you want kicking. But they're gonna still delve into that. There's no question about it.
Well, the thing is, now they know what they need. Now they need another rush in. They need another receiver. So, it just kind of defines what they need right now in what's left in the portal.
Yep. All right, Robbie, thanks for being on. We appreciate you taking a little extra time.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next Monday.
And don't forget, Pat, only use your phone for emergencies from now on.
Oh, God. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable that I screwed that up. And it's like I wish, now I got a voicemail from Coach Spurrier, which he did send me. There is nobody at fault here except me. Verizon's not at fault. Certainly, Jared's not at fault. Zach's not at fault, I don't think. We can't figure out a way to blame him. Spurs isn't at fault. Coach Spurrier is not at fault. I screwed up. I apologize. We've had such a great month, but we're going to keep having good shows. We're going to still, most people basically watch this show or listen to this show because they want to hear what Pat Dooley thinks, right? Well, I know that's not true, okay? All right, we got to get a break, though, and we'll do that. Then we'll come back and do all of our other fun stuff that we always do, Leonardo's, Adams, Ben Eige, Hesser and Kipke, Pat Dooley Storytime, all coming up here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more, including yours truly. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Trial membership until April 11th only, featuring Billy Napier and Tommy Townsend. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org. That's membership@quarterbackclub.org, or call me, and I'll let you get to the right people.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast, brought to you, as always, by the great folks at Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios, and we appreciate all those people, all these great sponsors, not only of this show, but of the golf tournament that we're having in, I don't want to think about how many days. What would be Monday to 2 Saturdays? That would be what? I've been incompetent all day, so don't ask me to do it. Like 18 days, whatever it is? Okay. I was just trying to get, during the break, I tried to get Coach Spurrier's voicemail and called him 3 times. So this is how bad I am with a phone. I shouldn't be allowed to have one. Let us get to the Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Normal people, lovely people who are, I think, going to play in the tournament this year. And we look forward to seeing them. Hesser and Kipke, of course, is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. If you don't believe me, check out their more than 55 five-star Google reviews. Or better yet, give them a call, 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. And Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. We start off with number 1. I'm a Golden State fan. I hate to say it, because it sounds like I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I don't talk about Golden State, but I've been a Golden State fan for a while. I love Curry. I love to watch him play. I was into the game yesterday. It was a great game if you didn't see it. And then Steph Curry did something that was unbelievable. He called a timeout. He went Chris Webber on us. Called the timeout. They didn't have one. It was a technical foul. So instead of having the ball, he got trapped, and it was just like a normal reaction. They get a free throw. They score a basket. And all of a sudden it cuts it to 1. They get a shot at the end, Sacramento, to win the game, and missed back off the back rim. But man, it would be this all anybody would be talking about today. And they may still be people are going to talk about it, and I'm talking about it right now. But it was unbelievable. And you can see how it can happen to anybody. I don't care how good you are. And Curry was playing just an amazing game. I tell you, the cool thing about him, and you see it a lot with college players now, because they're so long that they can get, if they get just an edge on you, they can get a layup, and you can say, well, that's going to get blocked. No, God, his arms are so long, it's like Inspector Gadget, and that's what Curry was doing in this game. But man, he was almost a goat of all goats, and that would have been bad, because that would have put them down 3-1. I still don't know what they're going to be able to do, because they don't win on the road. That would have put them down 3-1. Probably end their season. That mistake was that close to doing that. Number 2, guess who got a statue? Kyler Murray. Yay! Make sure everybody has one, but everybody does get one at Oklahoma if you win a Heisman. which pretty much is that way everywhere. You think about it, all the guys at Alabama, do they have statues at Alabama? They do theirs for coaches. But all the guys at Auburn do, all the guys at Florida do, that have won Heisman. So I think George Rogers does. I think he's the only South Carolina one. I'm just going to go through the schools. There's been 2 at Georgia. I don't know, but a lot of schools do at any rate. But he got one. 7 statues out in front of that place, and I knew there were statues there because I went and visited Coach Stoops one year when I was there for the NCAA softball in Oklahoma City. So I called Coach Stoops. I go, hey, can I just come by? I want to see. I've never been to Norman, and we went by. It was a lovely visit. He's such a great guy. Appreciate him a lot. And I couldn't believe the statues that were there. And at that time, I think it was only 4 or 5, but they keep winning them over and over again. But Kyler Murray now has a statue, 7 football statues. And the reason I bring this up too is that we had this long talk on the radio the other day about statues, and I pointed out that the 3 Florida statues cost $550,000. They were done the right way. I mean, Florida did it, and it was all private donors, so it wasn't coming out of anybody's pocket, except unless you were a private donor. They raised the money that way. But, you know, we were talking about should there be a Lauren Hager one? Should there be a something for the 04s? Well, then you can't just do the 04s. You got to include Lee Humphreys. So now you got 5 statues you got to put up, and it does begin to be where it's not cost effective. I do think that there are better ways to honor people than have been done at this school. It appears that just getting into the Athletic Hall of Fame is enough, and it's a big deal. It's a big honor. Nobody ever sees it. Nobody, all they know about it is the one day when it happens. That's pretty much it. It's a big honor for them, but where is it displayed? Well, in the touchdown terrace. There's a bunch of black and white pictures up there. So anyway, now I'm getting off on a different rant. That's number 2. And number 3, speaking of people being honored, Frank Solich was honored at Nebraska. And I started thinking this would be almost like Florida honoring Ron Zook. Now, would they honor Ron Zook if it had been this Nebraska bad since Ron Zook left? They might have. They haven't had a winning season in 6 years. They have won the championship since he won it. I'm blanking out, the conference championship since he won it. They haven't won one. That's not good. But that's the difference. Is Zook was the sandwich, was the bad meat in a great sandwich. Because, and again, I don't think Ron Zook was a terrible coach. I mean, he won 7, 8, and 7, I think. But he followed Spurrier. And then he set up a team for Urban. A great team. So his recruiting was unbelievable. But the point is, that's what it felt like to me. Now, if Florida had a run like it, they might do something for Ron Zook if they had a run like Nebraska's had since Frank Solich was a coach, because at least they won conference championship back in those days. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. We appreciate them very much. Let's get to the Leonardos at Millhopper quick picks. We'll be playing golf with Kyle Cohen Saturday. We got a tournament we're going to be playing in. Well, I'll have a good time. Hopefully my game gets a little better at some point. Hopefully, saying there's a chance. Yeah, see, I can do Spurrier. He's just not going to be here today. All right, so it's a very simple one. Florida plays at Florida State in softball on Wednesday night. Of course, they play tonight too, but they're playing on Wednesday. And pick a winner. Florida State. It's at Florida State. They're better than Florida this year. They're pretty good. Florida's can't pitch, but they can hit. Skylar Walsh putting up amazing numbers. And so, pick a winner. That's all you got to do, and get it into me. And you know the way to do it, which is to send it to patrickdooley54@gmail.com. Okay, let us get to our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the week. I was going to make it Gators, and I could make it Gators and just make it the whole golf program. But I'm making it a specific Gator of the week because it's a great story. Matthew Kress, kid from California, who begged J.C. Deacon to be on the team. Begged him. Said, man, I know you're almost full. It's a COVID year. I can't get anybody to look at me. Will you please take me? Please, just give me books, or I don't know what he got, but whether it was books or I think that Billy Horschel, when he signed with Florida, I think he got breakfast. That was his scholarship. That was it. He would get breakfast every day, and then had to pay his school, everything else. I think that it was breakfast or lunch or something like that. Turned out to be, now he's on the tour. But anyway, Matthew Kress not only scored the clinching points on Saturday in both matches they play, because it goes all match play. Then on Sunday in the big match for the whole thing against Vanderbilt, he destroyed his opponent 5-4. Wow, that was good lunch. You know that you're if that's what you're giving him, it's good. You're doing a heck of a job with it. Because they got all these big name players, of course, and they all did well too. Castillo was just incredible this weekend. But Matthew Kress is our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the week Saturday. Kelsey, we were going to cook hamburgers out. And Kelsey said, I want some barbecue. So she comes home with ribs from Adams, and I'm like, you can't do that. We're getting ready to cook other food. And finally, she goes, I got one left because there's so many of them. I go, I'm eating it. All right, I'll cook now. They're too good. You can't resist them. All right, let's get to the Ben Eige Odell Realty Games of the Week, and we've got a few of them to deal with here. Let me get first, though, to our House of the Week. It is a beautiful home, only 2 years old in Black Mountain, North Carolina. Black Mountain is right outside of Asheville. I'm telling you, it is beautiful country out there. Its own quaint dining scene in Black Mountain. Still be close to Asheville and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Just beautiful country. The home is listed at $750,000, 3 bedrooms, and also 2 separate living areas, and a private deck of the primary bedroom overlooking beautifully landscaped backyard, perfect for the fire pit and hot tub. I can't afford it. I'm sorry, I just can't. But can I give you like a down payment on it? The opportunity to generate income and have a vacation home in the mountains of North Carolina looks great with this house. Reach out to find more. Ben Eige, you know how to get a hold of him. 704-201-4264. His number, beneige.com. /Gators is the email. So we appreciate Ben for being a sponsor here. Softball, as I mentioned, plays tonight. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, they played last night. You missed it. 7 o'clock against Tennessee again. They've scored a lot of runs, but they give up a lot of runs. That is on the SEC network. Wednesday, they play at 6 o'clock against FSU. I don't think it's on TV anywhere, but I guess it probably is on ACC Plus. I don't think I get that. I don't know the answer to that question. Baseball does play Tuesday against UNF at home. That is on ESPN Plus or SEC Plus if you want to watch that. Lacrosse is at Jacksonville Wednesday at 7. Very late in the season to be playing on the road against Jacksonville, but hey, whatever floats your boat. 7 o'clock, that is not on TV anywhere. Just to give you some of the, this is what we've got going on with basketball. All these games that are on, they're on TNT, they're on the NBA Network, they're on ABC. There's just so many games. There's 3 games Tuesday, 4 Wednesday, including Golden State Sacramento, which I'm going to definitely watch. That is on TNT. And then 3 more Thursday. It's a great time if you like the NBA. I don't particularly am not a big NBA fan, but I love watching fourth quarters. I mentioned that earlier, and that's what I did again. So those are our games of the week brought to you by Ben Eige and Odell Realty. Appreciate them. Have I got everything? I've covered everything, haven't I? Except, of course, Pat Dooley Storytime. Pat Dooley Storytime is always brought to you by the great folks at Eastlake Pediatrics. So we will cut the show a little bit short because I screwed up. We just say it one more time, just a little bit short. And we will be doing the show Friday. And a lot of you really wanted to have the Thursday show. We had a little technical problem there. Again, nobody's fault, just happened, and we got it fixed. But there were a lot of people that let me know that we had a technical problem. But it had nothing to do with Thursday. The reason we're doing it Friday this week is because of the draft Thursday. There's no point in us previewing the draft again. I'd rather be able to talk about the draft on Friday. So we'll do the show Friday, and I mentioned earlier, Blake Topmeyer from USA Today will be joining us. Pat Dooley's Storytime brings me back, because there was a story, I didn't even mention this story, I think it happened Friday, where 5 players from the Colts got suspended, including Jamison Williams, for gambling. The NFL has got a weird dynamic there. We want to support gambling, we want to promote gambling, but you can't do it. The players can't do it. And I know why. If you get involved in gambling, and it brought me back to the memory of Teddy Dupay. Now, he's still alive, but the memory of him standing there in the, I don't even know if that room still exists. It was the old Gator room where we used to have all the press conferences back in the Spurrier years and Billy years. And all of a sudden we get told that there is going to be a press, so that would have been 2001. Florida had gone all the way to the national championship, and then the next year had gotten knocked out in the second round, but that had nothing to do with anything. But he was suspended basically because he was buddies with a guy who gambled, and the guy who gambled he would tell him, hey, we'll cover the spread in this game, and then the guy shared money with him. This is according to the stories, that were out then and have not been refuted. Bottom line is, Florida had no choice. Once it became to light, they had to let him go. But the weirdest thing was, Teddy shows up in a shirt, white shirt, long sleeve shirt and tie. Iron had never met that shirt in its life. It was the most wrinkled shirt I've ever seen. And the tie, and I love Teddy, and we've had Teddy on the podcast, and we'll have him on again. We love him to death. He's a big reason why Florida basketball took steps forward under Billy Donovan. Teddy Dupay committing was huge deal. But just watching him stand up there and it was like a little boy got caught, with his hand in the cookie jar, and then he walked out and kind of walked out of everybody's lives for a while. Weird. That was one of the weird days of my life as a sports writer. That day. And then Billy was emotional when he talked afterwards, but it wasn't anything they could do. They had no choice. Felt bad about it. Love Teddy Dupay. Love him and still do to this day. All right, that is going to do it for another Duly Noted podcast. Appreciate you guys for understanding my screw-ups. There will be more as we go forward with this. Appreciate Jared for doing a great job as always. And we'll be back with you again on Friday, when we'll have Blake Topmeyer on. Look forward to that. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back. And I am out of here.